What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon, MLB DFS video. It is Saturday. It is August 12th, and we are back, hopefully bringing you a very informative video. If you like our videos, hit the like button. If you want to support the channel, there's multiple ways to support the channel. Being a subscriber is a big one. Watching the ads or clicking on the ads here on YouTube is a big one. Checking the links down in the description of this video and going to our website so we can see that it's getting traffic, that helps as well. Another way, we have a CashApp down below you can check out, or you can sign up to FTA Plus, FantasyTeamAdvisors.com for 1 month for $24.99, or if you use the promo code NFLVIP under the yearly pass, get $100 off right now. If you've never been here before, welcome. You hopefully are in for a treat. We are very thorough with what we do. We go through all of the pitching on the slate, we go through all the bats on the slate, and at the end of the video, we're going to run some simulations. We've already ran 2,000 simulations. We're going to show you what the simulation's like about the top 10 pitching and the top 10 bats on the day. So we're going to go through that as well. Again, anytime a video gets at least 50 likes, you leave a positive comment, or you leave a comment, and you're a subscriber to the channel, you have a chance to win a free week. Anytime the video gets 100 likes, you have a chance to win a free month. Anytime 125 likes, you have a chance to win a free year. And if this video gets 150 likes, you have a chance to win a lifetime pass. The likes are due by the start of the main slate. So that being said, if you need to hit the bell notification so you know when these videos go out, then you can leave your comment at that time. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to check out who the winner is of the free week from Friday's video. So good luck to everybody. I guess I didn't do it. I did do it. Okay. There we go. Okay, so this will be the winner from yesterday's video. Congratulations, Brad Fowler. Hopefully, you are ready. All you got to do is, I know you're going to watch this video. I see you're there every day. Just like the video. Let me know you saw it. And then let me know your username on the website. Or either you can hit us up on Twitter at advisors_team, or you can email us dfshelp1@gmail.com. So, again, anyone who's never been here before, if you leave a comment, just like him, his was rough 4-game slate, Friday bacon coming. That is right. You have a chance to win every single day. Brad could win after this video. It's just, you have a chance every single day. So congratulations, Brad. We're going to kill it. Let's get going. So as you can see, this is going to be split up into 3 different kind of slates. You got the early slate here, you got the afternoon, and then you got the main slate overall. One of these games is not going to be on here. These are not, obviously with doubleheader, we don't know who's going to be pitching here, but with DraftKings, they're expecting it to be Spencer Strider. So we'll look at him. Obviously, he's always good. He's a stud. There's a reason. His last game, though, he only went 2.2 innings, 6 earned runs. Not good enough. That was against Pittsburgh, which they should have won because it's Pittsburgh. Not a good game there. But other than that, you can see he's going through it. He's very expensive. There's a reason. He's going up against the Mets. He has a fantastic matchup against Mets as long as this is in the player pool and the weather is not a concern. From looking at it, the weather might be a concern in this one as of the making of this video. So we have a ton of information on the website, but we just don't know about weather right now because it's going to change. So that is something to monitor. But as of now, we're just going to go through every single pitcher and bat on the slate. Then during the day, the weather will come through. We'll look at it. So I want to bring that to your attention. Yes, weather can pop up. This doesn't take that into a factor. We have that on the website, so check it during the day for everything else. So that being said, Strider against the Mets, I love him. The problem is he's faced him twice this year, 9 innings totals, giving up 12 earned runs and a 12 ERA, which is nuts to me. Absolutely nuts to me. Whether or not you want to pitch him or not, that is where I'm concerned. 8 of those runs came in 1 start, though, so a bad start, obviously. So we kind of look at this, and we have a 5-game early slate, if you want to call it that. So looking at this, there is weather concern in this game, and then as of now, doesn't appear to be any weather concerns everywhere else because we've got 3 domes here, and then we got this game and then Boston. So that being said, Strider against the Mets, I know he hasn't had success in the past. 12,600 is 3,100 more than any other pitcher on this slate. I feel you might be able to kind of fade this one if you want. It's to your own. That's on you. But looking at this, he's going up against Jose Quintana. Game log wise, Quintana, good-ish game against Baltimore. 6,700. That's what you're looking for. Had a not so good game against Kansas City. Against the Yankees, not so good, or pretty good. It's been up in the middle. So he's up and down. He's obviously made 4 starts on the year. This will be his 5th start if this gets played due to weather. Looking at this, home games, he's a little bit worse on the road, but again, it's 338 compared to 360. So you've got Spencer Strider, and then you've got Jose Quintana if you're playing this. So we're going to look at the split. So this is part of the website. This is under MLB. We have a ton of information for MLB. For anyone who's never been to the site, go check it out. A ton of free information. But if you do win a week, if you want to check out a month, if you want to do whatever, we have MLB, MMA, NASCAR, NFL, and PGA. So if you haven't already and you want to sign up, we have our MMA stuff all ready to go. Just waiting on a couple other things. We've got the cheat sheet out there. We've got our tiers. And then we're going to have the lineups on there as well. So the lineups for all the sports are a starting point. I wouldn't say copy paste and that's it. I would say use them as a starting point. Make a little bit of changes, but they're a great resource, and you can ask anyone here. A lot of people have been liking what we've been bringing to Fantasy Team Advisors since 2014. But we're going to look at this. So let's take a look at the New York Mets against right-handed pitching, see who jumps out to you. Some of these names they might not. Obviously, Tommy Pham's no longer on the team. Starling Marte is traded. You got Brandon Nimmo. I don't mind him. Not a ton of green, but I'll still take him. Francisco Alvarez, if he starts, I don't mind. A little bit lower batting average there, but some green here and got some great ISO power against righties. Pete Alonso has been on a tear, absolutely dominated in the Cubs series. He's been looking there. Lindor I would look at. McNeil I would look at. Canna has been traded. Dan Vogelbach, I'd probably not. I would probably look at him in tournaments only. And if you want to take a look at the Braves against lefties, I don't think it's going to be too big of a shocker, but they're dominating. They dominate everyone pretty much. Righties, lefties, it really doesn't matter. I think every single person on this Braves team is in play. I'm talking Acuna. I mean, Albies is batting 387 against lefties. Acuna against the lefty I would take. Sean Murphy against the lefty I would take. Travis d'Arnaud if it's not Sean Murphy. Austin Riley. Orlando Arcia. Matt Olson lefty on lefty doesn't matter. Michael Harris lefty on lefty still hits 293 against lefties. Marcell Ozuna, that big dump truck of a man. If you haven't looked up Marcell Ozuna's wife's ass and you're not on a work computer, highly suggest looking that up. Don't know how she fits in seats. I think they're still married. I think he hit her, but, other than that, dump truck. Absolute dump truck. So obviously in this matchup, we don't know who it's going to – this game's not going to be on there. It's going to be this game, first game. If you don't want to pay up for Spencer Strider, which I don't know. It's really up in the air. I wouldn't take Jose Quintana. I would be looking at the Braves as bats there. You could look at Strider. I think it's going to be kind of difficult to get a Brave stack plus Strider and still be able to compete in this. So this one would be one that I really like Strider. I would probably sports bet him. I would say probably one of his sports bet would be over 8.5 strikeouts. If he stays in the game, I would not be surprised if he gets 10 strikeouts again in this game. Might just be not plausible to pay up for him. So that brings the next game. Cubs of the Blue Jays. Justin Steele versus Chris Bassett. Looking at Steele here, second highest price pitcher on the slate, but he's still 3,000 less than Strider. Game logs, pretty consistent what we're looking for. 5 to 6 innings. You're getting 5 to 7 strikeouts here. Is giving up earned runs, though. Splits-wise, on the road, he is better on the road. He is going up against Toronto. Now, Toronto, they do strike out, but mostly against righties. Lefties, it's a little bit different story there. So you could be looking at this. You could be looking at the bats in this one. I probably wouldn't use Steele just because it's Toronto. But let's take a look at Bassett. So game log wise, it is true. I took him. I took Boston stack against Chris Bassett because if you look at his stats, his away games are bad. 5.19 ERA on the road compared to his 2.56 home. Now he's back home where he's done 70 innings, pretty much the same amount of innings here. More strikeouts, less walks, way less home runs, less earned runs, and less hits allowed. Almost half of the hits allowed there. So in theory, you could be looking at Chris Bassitt as a cheaper option against them at 7,700. Probably going to get more value out of Bassitt than you would Strider at 12,600, and still be able to stack if this game gets played. Atlanta's obviously the number one team here. But if you want to look at bats here, you want to look at the Toronto bats against Justin Steele, or aka lefties. We could look at this. Bo Bichette's hurt. Kevin Kiermaier, lefty on lefty, 303 batting average, some good numbers there. Does have a very low ISO, though, at .076. Same thing with Vlad. Vlad is batting .314 with a .430 OBP against lefties. He's only has a .071 isolated power, which that's got to be some sort of record with the numbers there. Again, only 86 plate appearances, but still, that's got to be that's pretty impressive numbers there. Matt Chapman against a lefty, I wouldn't mind him. 333 batting average there and 94 plate appearances. Whit Merrifield would be an option for me. Danny Jansen would also be an option for me there. Then if you're not going to go with Chris Bassitt at home and you want to take righties, you want to look at the Cubs. Which Cubs bats have had success against righties? Let's take a look. Maybe. Oh, it didn't do it. Okay. Cody Bellinger, obviously, he hit a home run on Friday. He's been on fire. It's Cody resurgence season here. Love me some Belly here. Wouldn't be surprised if he homers again. Chris Morel has some great peripherals here. A lot of green, a lot more green than you have orange and red. One is plate appearance. Yes, he will strike out. He won't walk that much, but if he makes contact, he's got some great numbers here. 383 BABIP. Love some Mike Tauchman as long as Tauchman is leading off the game. Dansby Swanson, I don't mind either. Nico Horner as well. Probably avoiding Gomes. Mancini's no longer on the team. Probably avoid Wisdom there as well. Maybe look at Suzuki a little bit there as well. So that's kind of the thought. I don't mind Chris Bassitt tournament-wise. I'm okay with that. Probably not going with Justin Steele, but, things can change. It just depends on who wants to pay. If this game is canceled or postponed and we can't play it, and we've got no Atlanta bats, then you could maybe pay up for other places here. So that is my thought in this game. We'll move on to the next one. You got the Tigers at the Red Sox. You got Matt Manning versus Brayan Bello. Manning, 9 plate appearances, really hasn't seen much. This is in Fenway. The ball flies out of there. Brayan Bello here has never faced anyone on this team before. So, looking at this, Manning is the last pitcher on the slate. He is 5,500. Game logs, not too pretty. Not looking very good. Is going 5-6 innings, but is giving up 5, 6, 7 earned runs in these games. Not the best. Splits-wise, hasn't faced Boston this year. Obviously, had a low plate appearance against him. On the road, he does have a better ERA on the road, but this is a tough ballpark to pitch in, the amount of runs that are going on. If you want to check him out, go under here, go MLB, go to ballpark stat ratings, and you can see how many runs Fenway has given up this year. You can see the home runs. You can see where they rank in runs, home runs, and slugging as well, and that'll help you also. And then on top of that, you can look at ballpark factors, see where the wind's going, see how it's going, and you can kind of go ahead and make some assumptions through there and see what you can pick up. Probably not using Manning here at all. So let's take a look at Brayan Bello here. Game logs, a little iffy against, that's Kansas City. The problem was he held them good. 6.2 innings, 1 earned run. He only had 2 strikeouts, though, so his fantasy points were low. Against Seattle, though, his strikeouts were up, but he gave up the earned run. So it's been pretty low. He's only averaging 15.1, which is kind of right where at his price point right now. Hasn't faced Detroit, like we said. Home games, he's got a better ERA at home, 3.08 ERA at home. I will take some exposure to Bello because the Red Sox the Tigers, I believe, are still ranked 29th in batting average against righties. They're very bad. They're very bad overall. Strikeout-wise as well, they're up there. So we could be looking at Bello as a cheaper option, 4,300 cheaper than Strider. If you take just like Bello and let's say Bassitt and you just put that there, you get almost combine those, and that's almost what Strider is himself, and you can get some value there. So I would take Bayo here. I would remove Manning. If you want to look, we can take both Detroit and Boston against righties. We can kind of see who has success there. Looking at I wouldn't use Miggy pretty much every single day. I'm going to tell you that. Kerry Carpenter, I don't mind if you're not using Bayo. Let's just look at Detroit bats first. Not too many that I feel confident using. Probably avoiding. Riley Green's the only one that I feel confident about, but I'm probably going with Bayo as one of my target pitchers here. Then we look at Boston bats. Yoshida at 309 batting average. Jarren Duran at 301 batting average. I would look at Tristan Casas with the 354 OBP, 244 ISO. Adam Duvall at home. He's been on a tear a little bit lately. Got a 304 there, got a 556 slugging. He's got the power. If the wind's blown out, game over. Justin Turner, I don't mind. Devers, I don't mind. So those would be the bats I'd use. Probably avoiding Detroit bats, and I will be looking at Boston bats. And just kind of looking at the weather in Fenway as of now, the wind looks to be blowing out towards the Green Monster. If you get those righty bats pulling those balls, that could be game over for whichever pitcher it is. So that is why I am looking at Bayo, and I'm not looking at Matt Manning at all. So moving to the next one, Guardians of Tampa Bay. You got Gavin Williams versus to be announced. Don't know if it's going to be Fleming. Let's see. Yeah, so they've got him here. There's no real update on him. Don't know if it'll be him. So we're not going to look at that. And he hasn't pitched since May. So that's the only reason when we do these videos, I don't like that DraftKings sometimes throws out names there and then they're completely wrong. Usually if there's not like a set pitcher for Boston, they always put Nick Pivetta in there no matter what, which makes no sense. So we don't have anyone with Tampa Bay right now. Then we got Gavin Williams here. We used him his last start. It went really well against Toronto. 7 innings, 12 strikeouts, career numbers there, no earned runs, 38 fantasy points. Absolutely killed it when we used Gavin Williams. Tampa Bay, and this is the crazy thing. The other, was it Thursday, I suggested in a very small 4-game main slate, Tampa Bay bats against Matt Liberatore because his numbers were terrible. Yes, Liberatore shoved. Don't know why. Then you look at the peripherals a little bit more. Tampa Bay was on, if you remember the beginning of the season, Tampa Bay was the best team in baseball. I think they were like 22-2. Like they were way outpacing their actual team. They've lost their pitching. They peaked. I honestly think Tampa Bay has peaked. Now, I say that, they'll probably go off on Gavin Williams, but they've not been playing very good baseball. They are not looking like the team that was undefeated at home through like May. They've been defeated at home. Matt Liberatore shoved against him. Makes absolutely no sense. We look at this one. Gavin Williams never faced Tampa Bay this year. Hasn't faced them this year, or in his career. This is his career. On the road, he's 212, so he's better on the road. He's got 16 Ks in 3 starts, 4 earned runs. So these numbers are a little bit skewed. I will still take exposure to Williams, especially on a small slate like this right here. Looking at this, the slate, if this game's not in there, I think a lot of people will be off of Gal Williams. I will be looking at them. And then if I'm using any, and we don't know who Tampa Bay's throwing out there, so it's really hard to look at them. So, pretty much if he's not suspended, Jose Ramirez, Andres Jimenez, Steven Kwan, I would look at, but I might be avoiding this game bats-wise and just looking at Gavin Williams there. Then the next game, Yankees at the Marlins. So this was supposed to be Nestor Cortez. Now he's back on the IL, probably done for the year. I believe it's going to be Johnny Brito. So they called Johnny Brito up. Should take this roster spot. So we do see he comes in 4-5 record, 5.02 ERA. He pitched 1.2 innings out of the bullpen on August 6th. Then he got sent down. Now he's back up. Numbers aren't too good here. Splits-wise, you can see away, he's 4.83 ERA, which is better. With 6 games started. Exposure-wise, tournament-wise, throw him in there because he's going up against Miami. But looking at this, again, he's got a high ERA, so this is a value play and tournament only. SP2, don't expect a ton out of him, but he's, game logs. He's had a couple of good games this year. And then again, Minnesota gave up 7 earned runs, minus 60. I remember this day. Like it's my job. One of my friends, or I'll say acquaintances, is a Twins fan. So, yeah, 0.2 innings, 7 earned runs. Obviously, he started off the season really well at 25.5, then 14.3, and then he fell off. Tournament-wise, I don't mind Brito. And then other side, Sandy Alcantara, 37 plate appearances against this team, 0.091. But then we dig into his numbers a little bit. Alcantara, Cy Young last year, 4.28 ERA. Game log against Texas, 6 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 3 home runs, 7 Ks. He got the fantasy points because of the 7 Ks. He's getting about 5 to 7, so I would fully expect this Yankees team to strike out 7, 8 times, if not more. Whether or not he gives up the runs, that's a different story. Splits-wise, he obviously hasn't placed the Yankees this year. Home games, 3.95 ERA, better than on the road, but he's only given up 4 home runs there, 18 walks, less strikeouts, 1 complete game, and 1 complete game shutout. So this is one where Alcantara peripherally not the best. This Yankee team, whether or not, they put up runs on Friday, whether or not they actually continue it, that's where I don't know. Alcantara tournaments, I don't mind. Again, though, 8,600, he is a little bit priced up there, just a little bit. So in this player pool here, if you're playing on DraftKings here, probably avoiding Strider just due to the fact that he's so expensive and it's going to be hard to take him, and the weather might not cooperate. So I don't want to pay that much. He goes out there 3 innings and then it's delayed and then he's out the game. Then you're really screwed. You probably have no chance. Probably not taking Strider. Maybe a little bit of steal in tournaments. This is going to be a tournament only for me. Alcantara, Bayo, Bassett. Don't think it's going to be Fleming. Use these, and maybe a little bit of Williams and Brito, but I'm not using Quintana or Manning at all here. So if I'm stacking, it would definitely be Atlanta, Boston. Those maybe be the stacks that I would look at in this one. Okay, so there is no afternoon. There is, but we already covered those games. So we can just go to the main slate now. So 6:05 Eastern, Minnesota at the Phillies is not on this for whatever reason. So this game's an anomaly. It's not in there. We're not looking at it. If you're taking sports bets, probably, I don't know. I'll have to dig into these numbers. We're not going to go over them, but I will dig into these numbers if I need to later. They'll be on the website. They'll be on the cheat sheet and everything like that. So not going to cover this game. Obviously, the bat set, if you want a sports bet, Kyle Schwarber against a righty, I would take him for a home run any day of the week. But we move on. Athletics at the Nationals. We've got Luis Medina versus Jake Irvin. Neither have seen them before. We're going to be down here, though. We're looking at Jake Irvin here against Oakland. Game log, not so good against Cincy, 11.6, but had a really good game against San Francisco. Obviously hasn't faced Oakland before. Looking at this home games, he is a little bit better at home, but not much. He's only averaging 9.9 fantasy points per game there. I know it's against Oakland. Maybe throw him in tournaments because it is Oakland, but I don't think I trust him enough. Then that brings us to Luis Medina here. Splits-wise, hasn't faced, obviously, Washington. Away game, 663 on the road. These numbers aren't good. Game logs, 1.5, 3.1 innings, 5.1 innings at Colorado. Had a pretty decent game there at 15.8. And then against Houston, had actually a good game against Houston. 5 innings, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts. He's going to get you probably 6 strikeouts. He might be a sneakier option. But at 7,300, though, he is expensive. So they are taking that into effect. So we've got 2 righties here. Let's take a look at both Oakland and Washington and see who we like bats-wise in this one. There's not a ton of green here. You can see there's a ton of red. There's a ton of yellow. If I'm looking at one's Washington bats, I'd look at Lane Thomas, C.J. Abrams, maybe a little bit of Meneses, and that's about it. And if you look at Oakland bats, J.J. Bleday I'd look at a little bit. Ryan Noda maybe. Rooker and Estuary Ruiz probably be the only bats that I would look at in here. And I honestly don't mind both of these pitchers as tournament options if you're making like 20 plus lineups. So if you're a person that makes 1 or 2 lineups and you only play cash, I would not play these guys. If you're making multiple lineups and you play tournaments, these guys are fantastic options there and some of the bats. But don't expect a ton out of this game. Next game, you got Brandon Williamson versus to be announced at the Pirates. It looks like Luis Ortiz possibly, but they optioned him down on July 5th. So if they option him up, then he'll start, but I don't know. There's zero news out there right now, so we can't go with that news. So we'll look at Brandon Williamson going up against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's been hanging with whoever they've been playing lately. They've actually kept in the game. I mean, they kept into games, won games against the Braves, which is nuts. We look at game logs here. Williamson, 33.2 fantasy points against Miami in 6.2 innings, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts. He's getting some strikeouts here. Now we're looking at splits. Pittsburgh hasn't faced him. He's never faced them before. He's on the road. Worst ERA on the road. This one, I don't know. Never know about this guy. We look at game logs. He had a good game there and then a couple stinkers here. Good game against Arizona. Not a good game. It's just up and down. Probably not going to be using Williamson there. But we can look at Pirates bats against lefties and see who has had success, because we can't really go off of anything right now for Cincy bats. But I mean, Cincy, obviously we're looking at Joey Votto. We're looking at De La Cruz, Friedel, Steer. We're looking at those names that you know we're looking for. If you're using Pirates bats against lefties, I would look at Ke'Bryan Hayes. Jack Sawinski's striking almost 50% clip against lefties. McCutchen I would look at. We've got some green there. Brian Reynolds, Connor Joe, Rodolfo Castro, maybe Henry Davis as well. Just depends. So I don't know if we'll have much exposure, but I think if you do go with a contrarian stack, the Pirates would be a good contrarian stack that I don't think a lot of people are going to be on. Next game, we've got the Cardinals at the Royals. We've got Steven Matz versus Cole Ragans. Steven Matz has actually turned it on recently overall. You could see he had some stinkers here, 5.6, 2.9, 9.7. But lately he's getting those points, and he is expensive, 7,700, which he has not been 7,700. This is the highest price he's ever been on DraftKings this year. Okay, so he's 800 more than he was last start. Splits-wise, he's faced Kansas City once this year, only 2.2 innings, 1 earned run. That is because he was coming out of the bullpen. Now he's in Kansas City, which is a pitcher's park. We look at this home, a little bit better ERA on the road, 4.77. I might throw in Steven Matz in tournaments. Don't know if I trust him enough in cash. Tournaments, I'm okay with. Cole Ragans, on the other hand, he just pitched last time and we stacked against him. Now let's look at his numbers. There they are. Game log. We stacked Boston against him. Of course, he went 6.2 innings, 11 Ks in there. Those are career numbers out of Ragans. Splits-wise, he's faced St. Louis once this year out of the bullpen, 0.2 innings, 1 walk. So nothing there. Home games, he's only started 2 home games, so these numbers really don't mean anything. The ERAs, everything doesn't mean anything. At 5,500, I will have some exposure to him in tournaments as well. 5,500, I know the Cardinals, if you're looking at Carlson, you're looking at Nootbaar, you're looking at Arenado, you're looking at Goldie. But those all hit lefties well. But I think Ragans, tournament, I'm okay with. But we need him to go deeper into games. So he needs to go at least 5+ innings to make us feel confident enough to take him. But honestly, I don't know if I'll have many bats in this game. I'll probably be looking at both of these pitchers for tournaments only. Angels at the Astros is next. You got Tyler Anderson versus JP France. Anderson's faced 69 plate appearances of the Astros, 362 batting average, 20.3 K. And then France, 34 plate appearances, 333 batting average there. We can look at this. Tyler Anderson, looking at him at 8,000 on DraftKings. Game log, okay games here. He is cheaper, a little bit here. 5 innings. He's going around 5-ish. But this is the Astros. They can hit lefties well. He's faced the Astros once this year and went 3 innings in that start, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 5 Ks. Don't really know. Let's see. Was he high into pitches? I mean, he had 85 pitches in 3 innings. So, Jesus. Yeah, that is a ton of pitches for 3 innings. With 5, but only 1 earned run. Nuts. He must have just walked everyone and then had to he got out of it with double plays and stuff. But yeah, if he's not going to go deep in the game here, I'm probably loving an Astro stack here. Yeah, probably loving an Astro stack. Then we look at JP France game logs. 3.1 innings, not a good game against the Yankees. 3 hits allowed, 70 pitches. You could see they were working those walks at 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. His give up hits allowed here and some earned runs. Splits wise, he's faced the Angels twice this year with 2 starts, 11.1 innings, 12 hits allowed, 3 earned runs, 10.9 fantasy points. Not enough there. Probably looking at bats. So let's take a look at Houston bats against lefties. If Diaz plays, love Diaz. I know his 172 batting average, but I still like him there. Kyle Tucker, lefty on lefty matchup, batting 345. Chas McCormick batting 329. Jordan batting 318. Pena batting 312. Dubon 325. Myers 313. Jose Altuve only 205, but he's leading off. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets on base. Astro stack, probably number 1 stack on this main slate. And then the Angels bats, the only real bat that I would look at, probably I would look at Drury and I would look at Ohtani. Those would be the 2 bats that I'd like. I'm not going to use France, not going to use Anderson in this game. I'm taking the Astros bats and probably cashing the money. Next game, Brewers at the White Sox. You got Brandon Woodruff is making a second start off the IL versus Jesse Schultz. Woodruff 28 plate appearances, 296. We can look at these numbers here. Where have they priced? They've priced him at $10,800, and my dude has pitched 3 times this year. He's had success in all of them. Now he gets the White Sox. Hasn't faced them this year, obviously. These splits are going to be weird, but on the road, 1.5 with 1 start. Yeah, I mean, he's expensive. He's very expensive. And, he hasn't faced him a ton, 28 plate appearances. Honestly, don't mind Woodruff, but I just think his price might be outpriced in me right here at $10,800. Especially making it his, with 4th start of the year, and it's August. I don't like that price. Great matchup against the White Sox. Don't put that away from him, but that's kind of what we're looking at. Schultz here, believe he's just a relief pitcher who's an opener. Oh, he went 6 innings past 2 starts against Cleveland and Texas. Didn't do too bad, 5,700. I think I might like his price a little bit more. Hasn't faced Milwaukee this year. Hasn't faced them ever, or he's faced 1 plate appearance. Looking at this, home game, 4.02 ERA, so that is bullpen. This one, at his price, and if we get 5 innings out of him, I honestly don't think I mind him. Milwaukee, though, we can look at. We can look at both the Brewers and the White Sox to see how they hit against right-handed pitching. Looking at these, Christian Yelich, obviously against the righty, batting 310, 403 OBP. He obviously is in there. Eloy's at 286 batting average. Don't mind that. Benintendi, maybe a little bit for tournaments. Luis Robert Jr.'s got some green here. I would look at him. Joey Weimer, maybe a little bit, but tournament only. Probably would be Willy Adames. I don't mind. Those would probably be the only bats in this game that I'd like. And I do like both of these pitchers. I think Woodruff obviously is your cash option. I think Schultz is your tournament option. Then you got the Padres at the Diamondbacks. You got Rich Hill versus Zach Gallen. Hill, 48. I don't know how Hill is still pitching. So looking at Rich Hill here, 6,900. Game logs, not a good game against the Dodgers. That's the Dodgers, though. One of his former 18 teams that he's played on. But other than that, he hasn't been very consistent here. He hasn't been getting a ton of strikeouts outside of against Pittsburgh. Splits-wise, he's faced Arizona once this year, 4 innings pitched in a start, 5 earned runs, 11.25. Probably not taking Rich Hill. Probably taking the Arizona Diamondback bats. Zach Gallen, on the other hand, he's up here at the top. Obviously, he's really good. 3.37 ERA, 11.5 record. Had a couple of stinkers here and had a good game against Minnesota. Splits-wise, he's faced San Diego twice this year. 13 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 14 strikeouts, 23.6 fantasy points. I'm taking me some Gallen here against Arizona. But let's take a look at I wouldn't look at Padres bats. I'm looking at Arizona bats against lefties. So let's take a look at Arizona bats against left-handed pitching. Corbin Carroll, I would look at him. Gabriel Moreno, if he's in there, I would look at him. Christian Walker's got a lot of green there as well. Ketel Marte, I'm looking at him. 298 average, 370 OBP. Gurriel Jr., I'm looking at as well. So, yeah, it'd be Corbin Carroll, Christian Walker, Moreno, Gurriel, Ketel Marte would be the bats that I would target in this game, and Zach Gallen as well. And I would not take Rich Hill. Then you got Rangers at the Giants. You got Andrew Heaney versus Alex Cobb. Heaney, 50 plate appearances, 283. I would take Andrew Heaney in this ballpark because it's a pitcher's park. So let's take a look at Heaney and Alex Cobb real quick. Right next to each other, 8,900, 8,600. Game log, a little bit lower against Miami, but, 5.2 innings. So you need at least, to make his price work, we need 6 innings out of him. Looking at that, he's done it a couple of times. It's been a while, though. So I don't know. His price might be up there. It just depends. Splits-wise, hasn't faced San Francisco this year. If he doesn't get the strikeouts, I don't know if it's worth it. Away games, 450. The ERAs are almost identical. And it's a pitcher's park. So I'll take exposure to him. But again, if he's not getting the strikeouts, he's not paying his price off. And then Alex Cobb here, game logs, not good against Oakland, which he had a really good start against Oakland, 28.5, and then he faced him last weekend, 3.2 fantasy points. Not enough. Splits-wise, he hasn't faced Texas this year. Home games, though, he is pitching a 146 ERA at home. I know it is a Texas team. I'll throw him in a couple of tournament lineups because he's really good at home. But again, it's Texas. So let's take a look at San Francisco bats against lefties, if you're not going with Heaney. Patrick Bailey, 338 batting average. Wilmer Flores, 339. Austin Slater, I would look at. Lamont Wade Jr., I would look at. Probably be the bats there. And then if we take a look at these bats that you're looking at. So Rangers bats against righties, probably, I don't think it's going to be a surprise. But yeah, Seager, green. So much green. Corey, if you're making a Texas stack, Seager's in it. Nate Lowe is going to be in it. Travis Jankowski's going to be in it. Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia, Leody Taveras. I don't mind those bats. I will have probably one lineup of Alex Cobb in there just because of how good he is at home. But I probably am going to be stacking the Texas Rangers a lot more than I'll have exposure to Cobb. Then you got the Rockies at the Dodgers. Pete Lambert versus Tony Gonsolin. Come down here. Pete Lambert's all the way at the bottom. Game logs, he's not going deep into games the past couple of games against Milwaukee and San Diego. 5.57 ERA. He's getting really low fantasy points there. We look at his splits. He's faced the Dodgers one time this year. Not a start. Only pitched an inning out of the bullpen. 5 earned runs. Probably expect something exactly like that this time. Not looking at Peter Lambert at all. I'm looking at the Dodgers bats. Don't even have to look up numbers. I'm Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Mookie Betts. Would look at them. James Outman will be a little bit cheaper option there as well. Depending, David Peralta or Jason Hayward, if they are in there, those are very cheap options. Then we can look down a little bit higher up here. Tony Gonsolin against Colorado. Not a good game against San Diego's last start. Hasn't faced Colorado this year. He's only faced 35 plate appearances against them in his career. Home games, though, 4.59 ERA. He's got a little bit higher ERA. Probably not taking pitching in this one. I could see bats. So let's take a look at the Colorado bats against righties because we already know who we're taking with the Dodgers. But if you're not taking Tony Gonsolin and you want to look at Colorado bats, CJ Cron's gone. Blackman's on the IL. Bryant's on the IL. Elias Diaz I would look at. Grichuk's gone. I would look at Nolan Jones. I would look at Ryan McMahon. I would look at Jurickson Profar. And Tovar would be the bats that I'd look at if I'm stacking the Colorado Rockies against the Dodgers. Baltimore Orioles at the Mariners. You got Cole Irvin versus George Kirby. Irvin, 50 plate appearances, 341. George Kirby, 54 plate appearances, 300 batting average there. So let's take a look at Cole Irvin real quick. Against Seattle. Game logs, he hasn't been doing good. Bad. The problem, he's going one inning. He's an opener. He hasn't gone more than 1 inning or 4 innings since July 7th. I don't know why. He's probable. I don't know if he's going to go longer than that. He hasn't been stretched out that long since July 7th. So who knows? He hasn't faced any Seattle batters this year. Away games, 5.30 ERA in 3 starts. So if he he got called up. He pitched out the bullpen, hasn't done too well. Probably looking at Seattle bats in this one. And then we got George Kirby here, 3rd highest priced pitcher on the slate at $10,000. Game logs, pretty good game against the Angels. Splits wise, Baltimore one time this year, 6.1 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 runs total, 4 strikeouts, only 14.1 fantasy points, which is not enough when you pay $10,000 here. So let's take a look at the Mariners bats against lefties. And again, stick around to the end because we're going to give our top 10 bats and pitchers after simulating 2,000 times. And by the end of the day tomorrow, before everything locks, they will be simulated 10,000 total times. If we're taking bats here, J.P. Crawford, I don't mind. Julio, I'll take. Caballero, maybe a little bit if he's still up on the team. Suarez, I don't mind a little bit. Tasker Hernandez, I would take. He's batting .302. Got a lot of green right here where it counts. Cal Raleigh, I don't mind either. So probably not taking Irvin. I'd rather have a Seattle stack. And I'll take George Kirby in tournaments for pitching. But again, we know the Orioles are really good. So if we're taking Orioles bats, it's Adley. Well, let's just look at it. But Baltimore bats, it's going to be Adley. It's going to be Mountcastle. It's going to be Gunnar Henderson that I would look at. O'Hearn, Santander, maybe a little bit Adam Frazier. I would look at a couple of those. So I'm not taking pitching in this one, probably. Kirby and maybe a couple of lineups, but I think you might be able to look at Baltimore bats over the pitching in this game. I just don't like the matchup here. Oh, and that was it. That was the final game. We've went over them all. If you liked it, let us know. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And like I said, if you stuck around and you're still here, we're going to go over the top 10 bats and top 10 pitching after simulating 2,000 times. So about 4 or 5 p.m. Central, about an hour before the main slate locks, we will have these updated 10,000 times for the main slate. So let's go. So we'll go with the top 10 bats first, and then we'll go pitching. So as of right now, through the first iteration of 2,000 simulations, Shohei Ohtani against JP France, Tommy Pham against Rich Hill, Mookie Betts against Pete Lambert, Jorge Polanco against Taijuan Walker, but we can't even play that game, Bobby Witt Jr. against Steven Matz, Max Muncy against Lambert, Freddie Freeman against Lambert. It loves a Dodger stack, obviously. Jarren Duran against Matt Manning, Rafael Devers against Matt Manning, so it likes a little bit of Boston stack, and Mike Tauchman versus Chris Bassett. If Tauchman is leading off, I do like that a little bit more. So looking at pitching here, overall the whole day, Brandon Woodruff against the White Sox, Sandy Alcantara versus the Yankees, Pablo Lopez versus Philly, George Kirby versus Baltimore, Johnny Brito versus Miami, Justin Steele versus Toronto, Andrew Heaney versus the Giants, Luis Medina versus Washington, Zach Gallen versus the Padres, and Chris Bassett versus the Cubs. Now, those are just the initial. Those are 2,000 times. After that, we will have a total of 10,000 times for you. We'll check it out. We'll have early lineups, and we'll have main slate lineups as well on the website, along with our cheat sheet and everything else that encompasses the website here. If you have any questions, let us know. We currently do MLB, MMA, NASCAR, PGA, and we will do NFL. I'm not doing preseason NFL just for the main fact that I don't want to. There's just so many different factors that come into it that you have no idea what's going to happen. Absolutely no idea. But we do have sports betting part of the package as well. So we have FTA Plus, and then we have the monthly pass, or you can get the yearly pass using promo code NFL VIP. Let me log in real quick. So kind of just taking a gander. These are some of the hitting prop bets we have with the two sports books, both Fanduel and DraftKings. If you don't already have a Fanduel or DraftKings sportsbook account and you want to sign up, and you've already got FTA Plus, if you hit this right here, it'll take you to the respective Fanduel and DraftKings. If you sign up using our links and you deposit at least $20 and you let us know, and we can see that you did that, they match. So I think they match up to like 500 or something like that. They used to. It might be 100 right now for NFL season coming up. But if you use our information and you use the link, we're going to give you a free month of FTA Plus there. Pitching, same kind of thing, looking whether or not our projections, FanDuel, the number over under, and then our favorite bets for the day. So looking at this, pitching bets, so these are from Friday, but we have pitching bets that we like. We have players to get hits. We have our total base bets that we like, and then home run bets. So these are more, these obviously home run bets are not the most likely to hit, but they're there. We like them. We do parlay, home run parlays every night just for fun. $2 to $5 bets, depending on what it is. So we have a ton of information on the website. If you haven't checked it out, go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Check it out. Let us know what you thought. If you are a new subscriber, welcome, guys. If you watch this video and want to subscribe, that's awesome. If we can get to 10,000 subscribers in the next month, someone is going to win a lifetime pass to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. So that's what I've got in today's video. Good luck. Come back tomorrow. And as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace.